and welcome to NewsX World. I am Pia and you're watching The World Report, and here are the headlines. Israel's security forces have received the remains of 3 hostages from Gaza, identified as Asaf Hamami or Daniel Omer Neutra. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has stated that the bodies have been handed over via the Red Cross to the IDF and are undergoing forensic identification. The Russian Defense Ministry has stated that it has intercepted and destroyed 64 Ukrainian drones overnight. The ministry has reported that the aerial vehicles were downed across Rostov, Saratov, Volgograd, Belgorod and Stavropol regions. US President Donald Trump has stated that he is not really considering providing Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles, as Russia has warned that such arms transfers would not help achieve the settlement in the ongoing conflict. US President Donald Trump has warned his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping that he would never act against Taiwan while Trump is in office, insisting that China knows the consequences. US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is visiting South Korea for talks expected on reshaping the role of American troops. He is also expected to visit the DMZ, separating South and North Korea. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake has hit Afghanistan, killing at least 20 and injuring over 150 people. The quake struck near Mazar-e-Sharif, which is home to more than 500,000, bringing down buildings and a school. Trump has stated that the US may conduct military operations in Nigeria, including sending troops on the ground or even conducting airstrikes. On the other hand, Nigerian officials insist that any support against Islamist insurgents such as Boko Haram in the northeast must respect its sovereignty. A 32-year-old British man has been arrested for attempted murder after stabbing 11 people on a London-bound train. One victim still remains in a life-threatening condition. Meanwhile, British police say the attack is not related to terrorism. Well, viewers, those are the headlines and our top focus. The Russian Defense Ministry has emphasized that Russian forces have intercepted and destroyed 64 Ukrainian drones overnight. The ministry has informed that the unmanned aerial vehicles were destroyed in Rostov, Saratov, Volgograd, Belgorod and Stavropol regions. Meanwhile, Governor of the Rostov region, Yuri Slusar, has stated that air defenses have thwarted a large-scale air attack and drones have been intercepted in multiple regions, including Kasharsky, Bokovsky and Chertkovsky. According to the governor, no people were injured in this particular attack. Dr. Sergei Dvoryanov, president of IDC Russia and director of WHD International Board, is joining us live from Moscow. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. We've seen the attacks intensify over the last couple of days. Yesterday, a Rosneft oil refinery and a tanker were also hit. Meanwhile, Russia is continuing its strikes on Ukraine's energy grid. We do know that winter is around the corner. What are the key priorities of the Russian people at this time?
Namaste. Thank you so much for the invitation. First of all, I want to tell that we're having a proxy war, and this attacks of the drones is one of the most powerful instruments in this conflict. And we can see that right now Ukraine is not successfully moving in the ground, because Russian Federation is very close to totally take Kupiansk and Pokrovsk, and it was big fail of Mr. Zelensky. And I can predict that soon Mr. Zelensky will be replaced and changed for the new president of Ukraine, legal one, because it should be election and somebody should be elected officially and receive a full legacy and authorization from the nation. Right now, who is Mr. Zelensky? He's a failure. He's a loser, actually. That's why he tried his level best, at least, to do something to save his image. That's why permanently he sends drones to Russian Federation. But he doesn't know that Russia is a very powerful country regarding economy and especially regarding spirit of win, because we are a nation of winners. And we always learn from the lessons of history. For example, have a look. Uh, America put two atom bomb to Japan, right? Who put? Russia? Not America. But who is the best friend of Japan right now? Best friend of Japan is America. Same, for example, in the history of India, uh, Great Britain steals from India, from Indian economy, not billions, trillions of dollars, trillions. But all main influence and rich Indians, they dream only put the daughter of a son to be educated in Great Britain. They pray to Great Britain, they pray to London. Even they know the lessons of the Great Britain Emperor. They put a lot of pain and suffering to the history of India. Still they pray to London. Why? Because we should learn from the lessons of the history. West always try the level best to attack Russia, to do something, because it's not Ukraine. It's actually Western countries, they push Ukraine, the stupid Zelensky to do this. That's why very soon he will be replaced, he will be changed, and we will achieve peace, nothing else required. And of course, India right now, we're having such a beautiful national leader like Shri Narendra Modi ji, who is a real, we can tell, spiritual, not only political, but a spiritual leader of the world. And again, Donald Trump, his behavior, he is like a trader, he is like a businessman. He already achieved whatever he wants to achieve. And only he dreams about Nobel Prize and put in every country his Donald Trump Tower. In every country, in every particular capital, he wants to put his name, Donald Trump Tower. That is his vision, how to be great. But real greatness of the human beings is spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is only required. Is only one key secret, is like a main secret how we can achieve peace. That's why experience of Vedas and all spiritual knowledge of Bharat civilization is very required for us. I'm telling you this is this true from depths of my heart, like a religious philosopher of Russian Federation. Thank you.
Indeed, and a quick follow-up I wanted to ask you. Donald Trump has ruled out providing Tomahawks to Ukraine. In your assessment, has this been done after Moscow has exercised pressure threatening to downgrade ties with US? And we've also seen Donald Trump highlighting that US will not use frozen Russian assets to finance this war.
Yes, because frankly speaking, Donald Trump, he's belonged to the Varna of Vaishyan. You know, four Varnas, like, right? It's the Brahmins, who is like educated, we can tell, philosophers. Then is Kshatriyas, who is real administration and warriors. And then Vaishya, who is the traders, and Shudras, they are like a servants. And Donald Trump, he's a pure Vaishya. He's a trader, he's a businessman. That's why he always change his words and politics and his position. Why? Because he's like negotiate, he's bargaining. He wants to always receive better price for his achievements. That's why just a few days back, you can see he visits this American navies. He didn't increase their military spirit to fight. What he start to do? He start to dance, full of joy. Dance like a good, like he receiving a good deal. Good deal is the main words of Donald Trump. Good deal. We should do deal, always deal. That's why, of course, like a trader, he's like a businessman, and that is his mindset. He does not want to increase war. Better to trade for peace, pray for peace. That is his vision. We should pray for peace. We should trade for peace. It is good, actually very good. That is a big gift for the modern historians, that we are having such a beautiful, such a joyful, dancing businessman like Donald Trump himself.
All right, so with that, I would like to thank you for taking out time, sharing your perspective and opinions with us. Shifting focus away from Europe towards the Middle East, we're now learning that Israel has received the remains of three fallen soldiers, Colonel Asif Hamami, Captain Omer Maxim Nutra, and Staff Sergeant Oz Daniel, whose bodies were returned from Gaza by Hamas under the US-brokered ceasefire. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has confirmed that the remains were handed over via the Red Cross to IDF forces inside Gaza before being transferred to the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute in Tel Aviv for identification. US President Donald Trump has stated that one of the returned bodies was that of American-Israeli soldier Omer Neutra, who was killed on the 7th of October 2023 during the terror attack. Hamas has claimed that the bodies were retrieved from a tunnel in southern Gaza and handed over through the Red Cross. The group has so far returned 17 of the 28 deceased hostages required under the ceasefire agreement, though Israel has accused Hamas of delaying the process. At a cabinet meeting, Netanyahu has vowed to eliminate remaining Hamas strongholds in Rafah and Khan Yunis, stating that Israel retains full security responsibility and will ensure Gaza's complete demilitarization. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Ali Mohammed Abushbak, independent Palestinian researcher, joining us from Cairo. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. Interestingly, apart from all of this, we've seen a statement come in from US President Donald Trump as well. He has stated that the ceasefire in Gaza is not fragile. He's also warned that Hamas could be taken out immediately if they don't behave. That's his exact statement as he's quoted to the media. What do you make of Donald Trump's recent statements? What could this imply with regards to disarmament? Because this is something that the Israelis have been seeking, and it seems that Trump is now seconding this rather openly, even after the peace deal has been reached in Sharm el-Sheikh. It has already been inked. And could this then include the prospect of American troops on the ground?
Thank you for having me. This is it's a good news now. Hamas hand over more 17 of the deceased body of the Israelis captive in Gaza out of 24. So now the process it's going despite the delay in identify the location and hand over the other the remain body of the Israeli captive in Gaza. I totally about the Donald Trump, his statement, it's not a fragile, but it's like a theoretical word and theoretical statement, but on the ground, there is a several of violation of the agreement from both of sides, Hamas and Israel as well, because Israel up to now delay in entering the humanitarian aid in Gaza, and now up to now the border between Egypt and Gaza, one of the term in the peace deal, Sharm el-Sheikh peace deal. It's up to now, it's closed, and look, that's prohibited for the people from Gaza who injured to go out for their treatment out of Gaza. Especially you are talking about the lack of medicine in Gaza, and there is a several of shortage of the several essential things up to now. Despite there is a ceasefire, despite the Israel accepted and allowed for the humanitarian aid to enter Gaza, but up to now there is a limitation of the also UNRWA was active on the ground. Also up to now there is a violation from the Israeli side. Israel just now alterally start targeting Khan Yunis in south part of Gaza, and every day we hear some a sniper shoot for some civilians in Gaza in border area or yellow lines in Gaza. So the thing is, up to now, it's not clear between Hamas and Israel. And I mean, several of experts in this field, they are consider Israel what is trying to do to take all the captive, to take all the remain body and resume the war again. And we have seen several of Israelis minister, I mean, here we should mention Smotrich and Benafir. They are in the government coalition with Benjamin Netanyahu. They are calling to resume the war. Simultaneously, also, there is a violation in West Bank. We have seen several of footage and witness several of Israelis settler who's attacking civilians in West Bank, attacking also farm in West Bank. So up to now, the situation, and the day before yesterday, and also yesterday, Israel bombarded Lebanon. Up to now, the situation is still unstable in the region. So I guess it's fragile. It's not stable, and I guess there is a no lasting peace up to this Benjamin Netanyahu reached to conclusion or consideration of the two-state solution, and this is one of the all international community admitted one of the significant solution between Palestinian and Israel conflict to end this kind of conflict should be two-state solution. Benjamin Netanyahu he said, I'm not going to state that. So here is the situation on the ground as well. People are still, there is a several of crisis in Gaza City and Gaza Strip as well. There is no power, there is no fuel. Still, the Israelis blockade is still exist on the ground, but there is a less media coverage about what is happening on the ground. So I guess Donald Trump, he's trying to pressurize both sides, Hamas and Israel, to maintain and sustain this deal up to find out another solution. And as you know, if this kind of deal or this peace process is going to apply and to success, there is a several of countries going to normalize the relation with Israel, and this is a clear. I guess Syria is going to join the Abraham Accords and several of other countries if this is going to success.
Indeed, speaking of the Abraham Accords, apologies for interjecting. Speaking of the Abraham Accords, there was a statement that had come in from Ahmad al-Shara earlier that they're looking at resolving only their security issues, and he sort of ruled out joining the Abraham Accords for now. But of course, there's a meeting that's lined up with President Trump at the White House on the 10th of November. So we'll see to that. But I also wanted a reaction from you with regards to Saudi Arabia's stance, because Saudi Arabia has recently come out and made it very clear that it will not accept the Abraham Accords until and unless a Palestinian state is recognized by the United States and Israel as well. So they've drawn their red line very clearly. And Donald Trump, of course, has not accepted this, but Saudi Arabia has made it very clear that it will only join the Abraham Accords if the Palestinian state, if a two-state solution is reached.
Absolutely. Saudi Arabia, one of the supporters of two-state solution as a lasting peace for the whole the area. Otherwise, also, it's not only Saudi Arabia is going to join Abraham Accord. Several of countries, if there is a Benjamin Netanyahu accept the standing Palestinian statehood and establishing their self-determination. So the thing says it's still complicated. I guess Benjamin Netanyahu is not stating for that, and he's not accepting this. Up to now, there is a violation, I said, on the ground. Israelis artillery, and also there is a one airstrike also in East Gaza City bombardment. So it's not stable. And about the Abraham Accord, also it's at the risk, because we have seen a tension between between Israel and Emirat. Abu Dhabi, there is a tension in relation during the war in Gaza and with this kind of regard. So the thing is, up to now, it's not clear. Right? We hope this peace will be remain in this area. We hope this peace will be in this area after more than 7 decades fighting and for suffering from the war. We hope it's find the peace and we'll see peace again.
Absolutely. With that, I would like to thank you, Mr. Abushbak, for taking out time and, of course, presenting your perspectives to us. With that, viewers, we're shifting focus to more news coming in. US President Donald Trump has weighed in on the British royal family, calling the situation with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor a tragic one. Britain's King Charles III has stripped his younger brother Andrew of his title of prince and has forced him out of his Windsor home, seeking to distance the royals from Andrew over his links to Jeffrey Epstein and the scandal that has now exploded. Andrew has come under mounting pressure in recent years over his behavior and his ties to the late sex offender. Let's in fact listen into what Trump has had to say.
I feel very badly. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. This has been a tragic situation. And it's too bad. I mean, I feel badly for them.
Major General Sudhakarji is joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX World. It's been quite a few years for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor ever since Virginia Giuffre had come out and made her allegations public. There was a settlement in 2022, but she's also published a memoir posthumously, of course. What sort of message is the British royal family trying to send by distancing themselves from Andrew? How significant a decision is it for them?
Well, good afternoon, Pia. Thank you for getting me for your show, and a very delicate question, although. But I would say whatever the King of Britain has decided and it has been promulgated, I am given to understand, we take it that due process of investigation would have gone in before you come down so heavily on anybody, leave alone Andrew, because that expression of alleged involvement is not there anyway. So that means his involvement in Epstein sex scandal is implicit, and there is no scope to question the veracity of this particular punishment or removal from the status of honorary rank of Vice Admiral.
Yes.
Having said that, this is my personal take, Pia, because being a military man, you see, this particular punishment or award has not been accepted. It has been denied. The expression used is denied by Andrew. So if there is a state, expression like denial, that means every accused is supposed to be entitled, as per the rules of law,
Yes.
is entitled to defend himself or herself. He or she should be given a chance to give his explanation. If that part has not taken place, then technically and legally speaking, this particular award of punishment can be held questionable in the court of law. So therefore, I would say that proper rule position should be applied, and the rule of law of United Kingdom should be gone into. They must apply the right to defend oneself when such kind of honorary rank is being denied and other privileges are being denied, and he should be given a chance to give his explanation and defend himself. If that part has not been done, then I'm really afraid that this particular punishment may not hold water or be tenable in times ahead. Back to you, Priya.
Indeed, of course, the UK's legal system is a little complicated in that sense, not just codified laws, there are also certain precedents. In this case, in some cases, as far as titles are concerned, it's the monarch's prerogative. What the monarch decides is what has to be followed. In some cases, such as peerage, is when the parliament is also considered. I request you to stay on with us as we track further updates, this time from the Caribbean. We are learning that US President Donald Trump has issued a statement on Venezuela. President Trump has expressed doubt over the possibility of war with Venezuela. However, he has highlighted that Venezuela has been treating the United States, in his words, very badly. President Trump has further stated that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered amidst the allegations of a coup attempt. He has earlier given directives to the CIA to conduct operations in Venezuela. This, of course, comes at a time when the United States continues strikes in the Caribbean, targeting drug traffickers. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has previously claimed that United States military presence in the Caribbean is part of a coup attempt carried out by the CIA. United States and Venezuela, of course, have been at loggerheads on the issues of drug trafficking and on migration too. Listen in to what Trump had to say.
On the way to the Caribbean, are we going to war against Venezuela?
I doubt it. I don't think so, but they've been treating us very badly, not only on drugs. They've dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country that we didn't want. People from prisons, they emptied their prisons into our country. They also, if you take a look, they emptied their mental institutions and their insane asylums into the United States of America because Joe Biden was the worst president in the history of our country.
On Venezuela in particular, are Maduro's days as president numbered?
I would say, yeah.
All right, there of course we've heard what Donald Trump has had to say. Major General Sudhakarji is still with us on the broadcast. What do you make of Trump's reaction, a very strongly worded signal being given there?
Yeah, behind the, Pia, very rightly observed by you, behind the strong signal, there is also a prominent signature of mellowing down against coming down heavily against Venezuela. You see, the fact of the matter, we need to study personalities. Donald Trump, as an individual, as a person, he is averse to any kind of conflict or war. This we have to keep it in the back of our mind. He doesn't like. Unfortunately, Netanyahu got after him and he roped him into attacking the Iraq, the nuclear installations. But that also he was not very keen. So, given the fact that whatever is being orchestrated or demonstrated, my take as a military man is that this is only a pressure technique because he has already mustered 16,000 plus 4,000, 20,000 troops and sailors. There is a aircraft carrier around,
Yes.
and there are frigates around. There are motorboats. There are missiles which are deployed for action. There are helicopters. There are fighter jets, etc., etc. And it is being coordinated and supported from the command headquarters at Puerto Rico. So what am I trying to say? In the Caribbean, if you see the coastal area of Venezuela, the coastal boundary is roughly around 2,800 kilometers, if I respect my memory. And the length and breadth of Venezuela as a country is about 1,300 kilometers by 1,200 kilometers. There is another important feature. All along the coastline, about say 25 to 30 kilometers into the hinterland, there is a mountainous feature which dominates the coastline. So this is, going by the military science, this is likely to be held by and make any kind of penetration from the seaside into Venezuela formidable and disastrous. Anyone who is trying to launch an offensive is going to be highly detrimental and disastrous. So therefore, what is it that Trump is, if at all there is some meaning and substance behind what he is saying? The CIA modules are definitely there at Carcassa, that is in the capital. They are operating there. They have been given an objective for regime change. This much from the open source I can glean. But regime change in 21st century is not going to be that easy. It is going to be cast under lots of scrutiny. Global body, entire, as it is, USA is getting isolated day by day. Economic and military might is not enough. There is also a thing called a reliability, credibility, and trust. All the things US seems to be lacking today in the world order. And they are losing out on the colonial kind of lineage and the loyalty which they had. Call it as sphere of influence. The Latin America has turned its side towards China. So under these circumstances, I personally feel, my assessment is, all these articulations by Donald Trump is to put pressure on Venezuela and carry out some kind of a regime change if possible. Otherwise, their target is to look for the oil market. Earlier, the oil company from America is to operate with the state-owned company of Venezuela, and they is to have direct supply of the crude coming to America for refinement.
Yes.
Today, it is all going to Russia. Russia predominantly is the key player inside Venezuela. So that has to be kept in mind, and that the sphere of influence which has been lost out from America in the larger perspective, they want to regain and restore their penetration and dominance in Venezuela and other Latin America countries in the backyard of USA.
Absolutely. With that, I would like to thank you, Major General Sudhakarji, for taking out time, of course, sharing your analysis with us on NewsX World. With that, viewers, we're shifting focus to more news coming in. India has successfully launched its heaviest ever communication satellite, CMS-03, marking a major milestone for the country's space program. The Indian Space Research Organization lifted off the 4,410 kilogram satellite aboard its indigenous heavy-lift rocket, the LVM-3M5, also known as Bahubali, from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. Also known as GSAT-7R, CMS-03 was placed into geosynchronous transfer orbit and is designed to provide secure, multi-band communication services across India and the wider Indian Ocean region. The satellite enhances data, voice and video links for both civilian and strategic, particularly naval applications. This mission marks the first time India has launched a satellite of this size to geosynchronous orbit using a fully indigenous vehicle. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hailed the achievement, calling it a demonstration of ISRO's growing capability to handle complex missions. Shifting focus to news coming in from China. We're now learning that China has expelled 2 former senior government officials from the Communist Party for serious violations of discipline and law. The Central Commission for Discipline Inspection has stated that the actions have targeted Wang Jianjun, former vice chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission, and Xu Xianping, former vice director of the National Development and Reform Commission. The commission has stated that Wang and Xu were suspected of accepting bribes, with their cases described as serious in nature and having malign influence. Well, viewers, due to paucity of time, this is all we have for this bulletin. More news and updates on the other side. Stay tuned on NewsX World.